Welcome back to the Conscious Conscience, where we sift through the swirling whirlpool of conspiracies, facts, and everything in between. I'm your host, Delilah, and today we're delving into a mystery that's as chilling as it is captivating: the Philadelphia experiment. Did the U.S. Navy make a ship disappear, teleport, or even bend time? Or is this just another tale spun from a mix of wartime secrecy and science fiction? Let's find out. It's October 28th, 1943, at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. According to conspiracy lore, the Navy was conducting a top-secret experiment aimed at making ships invisible to radar, a vital edge in the midst of World War II. The story centers on the USS Eldridge, a destroyer escort supposedly outfitted with cutting-edge electromagnetic technology. Witnesses, alleged witnesses, claim the experiment began with a strange green fog surrounding the ship. Then, in an instant, the Eldridge vanished, not just from radar, but from Philadelphia entirely. The plot thickens, though. The ship reportedly reappeared hundreds of miles away in Norfolk, Virginia, before teleporting back to Philadelphia. And the aftermath? Horrifying. Sailors were said to be fused into the ship's hull, some driven insane, and others lost in time completely. A compelling story, right? But where did it come from, and how much of it is rooted in reality? Let's set some facts first. Number 1. Was the USS Eldridge a real ship? Yes, it was a real and documented ship. The USS Eldridge, or DE-173, was launched in July 1943 and served in World War II, primarily performing escort duties in the Atlantic. Number 2. Was the USS Eldridge at the Philadelphia Naval Yard? No. The official records of the USS Eldridge indicate that it was never at the Philadelphia Naval Yard in 1943, the year the Philadelphia experiment allegedly took place. The ship's logs show it was in the New York Navy Yard during this time it was supposedly involved in these experiments. Additionally, in mid-1943, the Eldridge was part of a convoy mission in the Atlantic, protecting ships traveling between the U.S. and North America. Number 3. Where is the USS Eldridge now? The USS Eldridge no longer exists as a physical ship. It was dismantled and scrapped after its decommissioning in the 1990s by Greece. Any surviving parts or records are likely held by naval archives or museums. So where did this tale begin? The Philadelphia experiment didn't enter public consciousness until the 1950s, when a man named Carl Allen, using the alias Carlos Allen D., wrote a series of letters to UFO researcher Morris Jessup. Allen claimed to have witnessed the experiment firsthand, describing it as a military project gone disastrously wrong. Jessup was intrigued, but skeptical, dismissing the letters as more fantasy than fact. However, the Navy reportedly took interest in Jessup's book, The Case for the UFO, and copies of it annotated with mysterious comments about the experiment started circulating. By the time Charles Berlitz and William Moore released their book, The Philadelphia Experiment, Project Invisibility, in 1979, the story had already taken on a life of its own, blending real science, speculative fiction, and Cold War paranoia into a conspiracy legend. So, why does this story persist? Like many great conspiracies, the Philadelphia experiment taps into something deeper. the fear of what governments might be hiding, and the allure of technology that seems just out of reach. In the 1940s, scientific breakthroughs like the atomic bomb and radar technology were reshaping the world. It's not hard to imagine why the idea of invisibility or teleportation felt plausible, even terrifying. Add a dash of government secrecy, and you've got the perfect recipe for a conspiracy that stood the test of time. So, did the USS Eldridge really vanish into thin air? The evidence is thin, but the fascination, undeniable. Stories like this remind us of the power of the unknown to spark our imaginations and our suspicions. If you're intrigued by the Philadelphia experiment, I highly recommend checking out the Philadelphia Experiment Project Invisibility for more on how this story evolved. And don't go too far. In our next episode, we'll dive into the science, or lack thereof, behind invisibility and teleportation and what experimental studies are currently taking place. Is there any truth to the technology described in this tale? Stay tuned, stay curious, stay conscious, and always question everything, especially when green fog is involved.